Deep beneath the Arctic ice. Far beyond shipping routes. Far beyond sunlight. Something ancient is still moving through the darkness. At first glance, it doesn't look like one of the most remarkable animals on Earth. It doesn't swim fast. It doesn't launch dramatic attacks. It doesn't have the fearsome reputation of a great white shark. In fact, if you saw one drifting slowly through the water, you might wonder how it survives at all. But appearances can be deceiving. Because the Greenland shark may be carrying one of the greatest secrets in the entire animal kingdom. This massive shark can grow over 20 feet long. It can weigh more than a small car. And yet, its most extraordinary feature isn't its size. It's its age. Scientists believe some Greenland sharks alive today may be over 400 years old. Think about that for a moment. When some of these sharks were born, there was no United States. No electricity. No airplanes. No modern medicine. Entire nations have risen and fallen during the lifetime of a single Greenland shark. Generations of people have lived their entire lives, while the same shark continued swimming beneath the Arctic ice. Slowly. Silently. Patiently. And that's what makes this animal so fascinating. Most creatures live fast. They grow quickly. They reproduce quickly. And eventually, their lives come to an end. The Greenland shark seems to follow a completely different set of rules. Everything about it is slow. Its movements are slow. Its growth is slow. Even its journey through life appears to move at a different pace. Almost as if time affects it differently. But that raises an obvious question. How can a shark live for centuries? What allows it to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth for so long? And perhaps even more surprisingly, how can an animal that moves so slowly remain one of the Arctic Ocean's top predators? The deeper scientists look into the life of the Greenland shark, the stranger the story becomes. Because this isn't just a shark. It's a living time capsule. A survivor from another era. And one of the greatest mysteries still swimming in our oceans today. And before we go any deeper, I have a question for you. If you could live for 400 years, would you actually want to? Or do you think life would lose its meaning after so much time? Let me know in the comments. I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts. Now, let's uncover how this ancient shark survives in one of the harshest environments on Earth. If the Greenland shark's lifespan sounds impossible, its hunting strategy is even harder to believe. Because despite being one of the Arctic Ocean's top predators, it is also one of the slowest sharks on Earth. At full speed, a Greenland shark moves at only about 2 kilometers per hour. That's slower than most people walk. Now imagine trying to catch a seal. A seal can accelerate quickly, turn instantly, and disappear into the darkness within seconds. On paper, the Greenland shark shouldn't stand a chance. Yet when scientists examine what these sharks eat, they repeatedly find evidence of fish, squid, and even seals, which creates a fascinating mystery. How does a predator that barely moves catch prey that can easily outrun it? The truth is, scientists still don't have a complete answer. But they do have a few intriguing theories. One possibility is that the Greenland shark doesn't hunt like most predators. It doesn't chase. It doesn't sprint. It doesn't rely on explosive bursts of speed. Instead, it may rely on patience. The Arctic Ocean is a world of darkness. For much of the year, sunlight barely reaches the water. Visibility is limited. Temperatures are freezing. And life moves differently here. In an environment like that, being fast isn't always necessary. Sometimes, being quiet is more important. Researchers believe Greenland sharks may take advantage of moments when seals are most vulnerable. Some seals sleep in the water to avoid predators waiting on the ice. But while resting in the dark Arctic Ocean, they may unknowingly expose themselves to another threat. A giant shark approaching from below. Not rapidly. Not aggressively. Just slowly drifting upward through the darkness. Silent enough that the seal never notices until it's too late. It's a hunting strategy that sounds almost unbelievable. But it fits perfectly with everything we know about the Greenland shark. This is an animal built for efficiency. It doesn't waste energy. It doesn't rush. It doesn't need to. Instead of winning through speed, it may win through patience. And the more scientists study this ancient predator, the more they realize something remarkable. The Greenland shark survives not because it breaks the rules of nature, but because it follows a completely different set of rules than almost every other predator on Earth. Yet the strangest part of the story isn't how it hunts. It's how it hunts while dealing with a problem that would cripple most predators. Because many Greenland sharks may be navigating the Arctic Ocean with extremely poor vision. And the reason why is both disturbing and unforgettable. For most predators, good eyesight is a major advantage. A wolf watches movement across an open field. An eagle spots prey from incredible distances. A great white shark can detect movement in the water long before it attacks. Vision helps predators find opportunities. It helps them react. It helps them survive. But the Greenland shark seems to have taken a very different path. Because many scientists believe these sharks may have surprisingly poor eyesight. And the reason is something straight out of a nightmare. If you look closely at a Greenland shark, you'll often notice something attached to its eyes. Not dirt. Not an injury. A parasite. A small crustacean that latches directly onto the shark's cornea. As the shark swims, the parasite hangs from the eye and drifts with the current. It's a disturbing sight. And what's even stranger, it's incredibly common. Researchers studying Greenland sharks discovered that the vast majority carry these parasites. In some regions, almost every shark examined had them. Over time, the parasite can damage the surface of the eye. Scientists suspect that many Greenland sharks may only be capable of detecting basic light and dark shapes. Not detailed images. Not sharp movement. Just enough vision to tell whether light is present. For most predators, that would be a disaster. Yet somehow, the Greenland shark continues to survive. It continues to hunt. It continues to thrive. Which tells us something important. Vision probably isn't the sense this shark relies on most. Instead, its real strength may be its sense of smell. The Arctic Ocean is filled with invisible chemical signals. Every fish, every seal, every living creature leaves behind tiny traces as it moves through the water. To us, those signals are impossible to detect. But to a Greenland shark, they may act like a map. Researchers have found that the areas of the shark's brain associated with smell are unusually developed. In other words, its nose may be far more important than its eyes. A faint scent drifting through the current could be enough to trigger a search. And once the shark gets close, another remarkable system takes over. Like other sharks, the Greenland shark possesses tiny sensory organs around its head that can detect electrical signals. Every heartbeat, every muscle movement, every living creature generates small electrical impulses. The shark can sense them. even in complete darkness, even when visibility is nearly zero. Suddenly, the idea of a nearly blind predator becomes much easier to understand. Because the Greenland shark doesn't experience the world the way we do. It doesn't depend on what it sees. It depends on what it smells, what it senses, what it feels. And in the dark waters of the Arctic, that may be more than enough. But eyesight isn't the only challenge these sharks face. Because beyond the darkness lies an even harsher environment. A world of crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and depths so extreme that very few animals can survive there at all. Yet somehow, the Greenland shark calls that world home. At this point, I have to ask, do you think Greenland sharks are active hunters? Or are they mostly scavengers feeding on whatever they can find? Scientists are still debating that question today. So tell me what you think. Hunter or scavenger? Drop your answer in the comments below. Because what scientists discovered next only makes this mystery even stranger. For centuries, the Greenland shark remained hidden beneath Arctic ice. A giant predator moving through darkness, living longer than almost any vertebrate on Earth. But discovering its incredible age only created a bigger mystery. How does it survive for so long? Scientists believe part of the answer may be hidden deep within its DNA. And what they've found so far is fascinating. When researchers began sequencing the Greenland shark's genome, they expected something unusual. After all, animals that live for centuries must possess biological advantages that most creatures do not. What they discovered was a genome of enormous size. More than twice the size of the human genome. A vast library of genetic information that scientists are only beginning to understand. Inside that genetic code, researchers found large numbers of what are known as transposable elements, often called jumping genes. These are pieces of DNA that can move around within the genome. For many animals, jumping genes can be problematic. They can create mutations, damage cells, and contribute to disease. Yet somehow, the Greenland shark appears to thrive with them. Some scientists believe the shark may have evolved ways to use these genetic mechanisms to its advantage. Possibly enhancing DNA repair systems. Possibly improving cellular maintenance. Possibly slowing the accumulation of damage over time. At this stage, many questions remain unanswered. But the clues are intriguing. The Greenland shark may not simply survive because it lives slowly. It may also possess biological tools that actively help preserve its body for centuries. And when you step back and look at the entire picture, a pattern begins to emerge. This shark grows slowly, matures slowly, moves slowly, lives in cold water, burns energy at an unusually low rate, and may possess genetic adaptations that help repair cellular damage. Every piece of the puzzle points in the same direction. Longevity. In a world where most animals are racing against time, the Greenland shark seems to exist outside of that race altogether. It drifts through the Arctic darkness year after year, decade after decade, century after century, while empires rise and fall, while generations come and go. The Greenland shark continues its silent journey beneath the ice. And perhaps that's why this animal captivates scientists so deeply. Not because it's the fastest, not because it's the strongest, but because it challenges our understanding of aging itself. The Greenland shark reminds us that the ocean still holds secrets we barely understand. And somewhere beneath the frozen Arctic waters right now, a shark older than entire nations may still be swimming through the darkness, waiting for us to uncover the next chapter of its story.